get this thing to load.
Live from the Pines, your favorite East Texas sports podcast, coming at you live tonight. Tonight we welcome special guest, Mr. Shawn Clynch, inside the Mancave podcast. If you don't know, or you do know, Shawn Clynch is a Lufkin native. He might have not been born here, but he spent a lot of time in County Woods. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Shawn?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm honored, and I really appreciate you, offering this collaboration. I've watched your work. You're doing a great job with this. There's a lot of stories to talk about, great people in Lufkin and East Texas. And you're right, man. I feel like I'm a native of Lufkin. And when I was in college, I kind of pushed myself in the door at KTRE and then graduated from college, went to West Texas to start that career, came back to KTRE, and one of my best friends and I, Brian Mays, worked together. The sports team there, we had so much fun and memories and people to this day that I'm still connected to and hold them all in high regard. Then, man, it was on to Oklahoma City, then back here in Austin, and then wrapped up that broadcasting career in 2019. And then this podcast started in 2020, the stories inside the Man Cave, man. So I really admire your work, man. It's every time I see any content with you guys and all the people that I consider friends of mine and everyone I got to cover in East Texas, they're getting older. But, man, it is rich in tradition, all of Lufkin and East Texas.
That's very true. Mr. Clynch, you got to see a lot of good Lufkin football. You got any stories
for
me?
Man, where do I start? I've got bags upon bags of stories that I remember my first season covering Lufkin full-time at KTRE, 1999.
That's the year I was born, by the way.
No. The last follicle of hair I have just fell out because you said
that. I was born May 10th, 1999.
Oh, my God. I'll be 52 this year.
Hey, you're still in your prime.
100%. But I will say, back in my Lufkin days, I had a full head of hair. I had no idea I would go this route. I wish I would have done it earlier. But I remember in 99, and I'm trying to remember, I think Reggie McNeil was pulled up that year as a sophomore. I think, because the year prior, they went to the state quarterfinals in 98, right before I arrived when I was in San Angelo. And I remember going to, I think, Beaumont Central at Babe Sahara Stadium, traveled all the way down there and just really realizing, because I'd only been back at Lufkin for 4 weeks. And I knew right then and there with all the pieces that John Outlaw and that staff that was with Lufkin forever, that something is going to happen here special. And, 2 years later it happened. And it was, but you think about what all the talent, what it was in Lufkin back then. You had inner city Lufkin. You had everybody that had ties to Lufkin High School. You had the coaching staff of all sports, football. You had the administration, the city leadership, all aligned. Everyone was for each other. But, I think in a cycle, it happens. You look at college football, any athletic program, everything has a cycle. And I've got a feeling that now you're about to cycle the other way. But I have so many great memories. Coach Quick, Coach Guzman, you had Coach Green, I'm leaving guys off that I have memories with. Roy Knight, his son, Matt, that whole family. I look back, and I said it a lot when I was in Oklahoma City, and especially here in Austin. that I had not only the privilege, I didn't know it at the time because it was a job and I wanted to, create special content and just it was Lufkin, it was Diboll, Corrigan, Garrison north of Nacogdoches, Hemphill to the east, San Augustine, Timpson. So many championship level programs within 45 minutes or an hour.
It's crazy.
I mean, and you look back and that one year where it was Lufkin, Garrison, Corrigan, all playing for state championships and Matthew Knight. Hey, by the way, Matt Knight is in contention to win the Stories Inside the Mancave podcast bracket challenge. I think you picked Houston to win it all. KTRE, the original channel of champions back in the day. That's another thing, Jalen. I was lucky to be at KTRE when it was at its peak. Great people like Jimmy Cloonan behind the scenes, Brian Mays, Tina Alexander, the great news director. We had, and even Brian Lockery before me, we had some amazing people. And I felt like B. Mays and I, man, it was a golden era. And then Ryan Peterson with me, Donovan Campbell. Unbelievable what we were able to achieve. I felt like we were producing big market content but we were just enjoying it. And the good times with the Corrigan staff at Applebee's on Wednesday nights, we call it the Coaches Club. I will not reveal some of the things that were told or what happened.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But like you said, though, those were times when, Lufkin was known for championships,
Yes.
Lufkin, like
everything.
I had a guy tell me a couple of years ago that, back in the day, Lufkin was a place you feared to go. And you hated for Lufkin to come to you. You hated for Lufkin you hated to go to Lufkin. And the thing that sticks out to me the most talking about Lufkin football is getting the chance to move back to my hometown and be involved and go to the games on Friday nights. And you look in the stands and there's plenty of room. And it's like,
that's hard I can't even envision that.
Yeah. And it's crazy. And it's like, the way technology's changed the game, and that's all sport levels, but it's still nothing like being in the stands and the camaraderie of the fans and, just being at Abe Martin Stadium, John Outlaw Memorial, all the fans, the community being there. And we had a sideliners meeting the other day, and a guy said there was a time in Lufkin where everybody shut down on Saturdays. Like car dealerships were selling cars on Sundays because on Saturday they were falling the pack. And it just, I tell those stories all the time being a kid, getting to sit there and, experience all those good times following Lufkin. And I don't understand why parents don't make that a priority anymore. Load the family up, go watch the pack play, support your hometown community, because a lot of people would die to have the fan base and legacy that Lufkin has.
And Lufkin, if you go back, if you do a little research, in particular Lufkin football, and then you look at Lufkin basketball and especially Lufkin baseball, it was one of the state's top 10, 15 programs, but all time in UIL history, Lufkin we're
up there.
It's like 14 or 15 winningest programs or 20 ever since the UIL sanctioned high school football began. And that was a long time ago. I can't remember the year, but Lufkin is one of the all-time winningest programs. I'm going to speak with passion with what you just said. I know technology has changed. People can watch streaming games. I've been a part of streaming broadcast of other high school football programs around the Austin area. But that really hits a nerve with me when I hear you say there are spaces at Abe Martin Stadium in the grandstands. I encourage everybody. Change is good. Change is good. It's something that it took me until the age of 34, 35 to embrace change. Not only in my life, and I've seen it in communities. And that really bothers me. It bothers me deep to hear that Lufkin football is not what it used to be. You can't blame one person. Everybody needs to embrace this change, admire what Coach Quick did, because that was a difficult position to be in, even though he was a significant part in building that championship culture. But, man, everyone needs to accept change, and everyone needs to play a role. And I'm not preaching. I'm just going by seeing a lot of programs over the year, being inside of college programs from OU, Oklahoma State, Texas. There's a lot of others that I've seen, contacts of mine who have told me and off the record, so to speak, and I'll honor it. I've learned a lot of things from programs across the country, and especially Texas high school football. Lufkin is unique. They're a one high school community.
One high school dog.
And for people not to get behind this program, be a part of the change. It's like socially too. What we experienced in 2020, man, let go of the past. Be a part of the change. And I know that's deep, but it's true. But in a place like Lufkin, I talk about it to a lot of people, how special that place was or can be. I mean, looking behind you, that facility, that multi-purpose facility, and that's the south end zone, right?
Yes.
Is that correct? I still have my directions right about that place.
If not, I promise you, Matt Knight will be text to be correcting me.
Yeah. But to embrace all that, these kids came out of those old locker rooms back then, and that was a privilege. I promise you, every kid who's played for Lufkin back in Jaworski Lane's day,
sign they had when they ran out, play like a champion.
And back when Jaworski, Trent Early, you go Alton, Dixon, all that group. I mean, there's a ton of kids that I have respected and admired because of who they are today. Leonard Hewitt, people like that. There's a ton. Big Jew. There was a standard there. And when you got kids who embrace that culture, buy in and police each other. And what I mean by policing each other, hey, if you're not with us and you want to be a part of this, you got to put in the work. And their discipline's handled behind the scenes when you self-police and it's but you need the community, man. And I just it really pains me to hear what you just said, because that field right there, not only is a field special, that stadium, it's one of the classics of what Texas high school football is all about. And when players who are in that program, when they see that John Outlaw sign, I've not seen it yet in person.
I want to make you a deal. We will wine and dine you, but you will be at a Lufkin Panther football game this year.
You got it. And Coach Absek, I'm going to vouch for him. He was an defensive coordinator and then head coach at Cedar Park back in my media days. We became pretty close. We had some fun times, just good conversations in his office. And I know who he is. He's a true ball coach, legit. Just give him a chance.
I've kind of picked up that he's having a few conversations I've had with him, and I tell everybody this: his resume speaks for itself. Anybody that's did it twice and finished a job can coach ball. And I don't care, I don't care who you are, where you're at. It's going to be trials and tribulations no matter what.
Yes.
And like you said, every team needs a community. And when you have a one-horse talent we do, that you have one high school, nobody to compete with, you have to get behind them and, push them. And the thing that kills me the most, there's a lot of changes going on in Lufkin ISD. Right. That's every school district in the state of Texas is making changes right now.
Especially politically right now.
Yes. Like, don't get on social media and bash your alumni and the school your kids attend due to the fact that you don't agree with change. Change, like you said, is not always bad. It's sometimes good. And that goes for the workforce, the sport life, anything. change is going to come and it's going to happen. And like you said, we admire Coach Quick and the rest of the guys for all the things they did for Lufkin. But like you said, you have to turn the page. And there's a great song wrote called Turn the Page. And it basically explains that time still goes on and things will change. And if it's a Friday night Lufkin and Lufkin's playing at home, I don't care where they're playing at. If you're capable and have them, the means to make it to those games, get out and support those kids and support your community. Because the last thing you want is for this ship to sail and we start heading to promised land and you're like, oh, I want to go now. I got to get out there now. No, come from the start. And last year we hosted Millsby last year at home.
Mm-hmm.
First round playoff game at the 8. I was in the process of moving in my house, and I rushed everything possible to move in the day before. And I still had so much stuff. I didn't even have clothes all the way in my college. I forgot. In my house. Like I remember going to the game, and I called one of my buddies, and I was like, I literally don't have anything to wear. And my priority was making sure I got there to watch Lufkin play, and walking on those sidelines that day. Saturday playoff game at home. The band's fired up. The stands were actually pretty full that game. And those kids went out there and beat the ever-living out of Millview.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, and it was like, Lufkin's back. Like, this is what it's supposed to be. But, like, that should be every Friday night. Like, you should have that same atmosphere. We went to round 2 to play College Station in New Caney. I remember we got there kind of late. We made kickoff. We were kind of late. And we were walking in, and, College Station's purple, we're purple. And I like, if you didn't just know, you would have went to either side and been like, okay, this is Lufkin. Okay, this is College Station. But, like, pulling up to that game, and there was cars everywhere. And you look at the stands, and you see all these people, 2 decks just filled. And I'm like, that's Lufkin. And you walk up, and it's like, this is Lufkin football right here. The band's here. The community's here. The kids are fired up to play. And even though the game didn't go our way, that season was legendary. It gave the younger kids something they should look forward to is wanting to be in that scene. And like you said, not a guy from Lufkin, but having the chance to cover Lufkin sports in the early 2000s and the 90s, you saw Lufkin football. You saw the guys like Jude, Jaworski, Ralph Thomas, Reggie, Leonard Hewitt, all those guys. That was what the standard was. That was the standard, like those guys knew that when they strapped those pads on Friday nights, it was bigger than just them. They were playing for something
100%.
A lot more. And
it's insane because you look back at the district then, even that year, that weird year.
That round robin district?
That was stupid. A 4-team district, and then the hurricane happened. Hurricane Rita. And he forced them to play 2 games in a 4 or 5 day period. That was ridiculous that year. But I will defend the UIL. Hey, do better. Show me how you can do better. I quit criticizing the UIL about 10 years ago because they've got a difficult job. But Jalen, I'll say this. I'll go back to that 99 season. There's 2 points. Like Justin Purvis was a fullback. They got to host, and correct me if I'm wrong, 99, and I know you weren't around then. I don't think you were even conceived yet, or were you born then? 99,
I was born in May, so football season was over.
Oh, yeah, you were around. You were a little toddler.
Well, actually, no. So the 98 season was over. We were going into the 99 season.
Okay. I think Lufkin hosted Dallas Carter. And if people remember, Dallas Carter is one of the storied programs. On a Saturday, my first true season full-time as a member of the media, that was beautiful. I know it went under the lights, but it was absolutely stunning. It's a college-like atmosphere, and that's what I get passionate about. I became very close to everything associated with Lufkin and really respected it because everybody pulled and moved together. And it was all, I know people supported Outlaw, what he built. They got the indoor facility while I was there. And every individual, beginning with the kids, the student athletes, you got to embrace that and say, that's ours. And I'm going to play for that. I'm going to take care of my books in the schoolroom because of what I'm a part of. And Lufkin can be great again. I mean, the downtown part, I'm impressed with that.
It's awesome, man.
It's awesome. And I say we.
You're part of it. It's yours.
I'm part of it. It is. I've always had a very special place right here for the people, for what's behind you. Old Morris Frank Park, but covering it, we covered it like a college football program. We literally did. And I tell people that a lot wherever I've been. It comes up. And you know, you can't take things for granted because it does. There is an expiration date. Now we're going through a cycle. Coach Quick did the best job that he could. There should be no criticism. That's just, and that last season was great. Last season was great. Greatness and that consistency will happen beginning now if everyone, I hate to use a term from Mac Brown, put all the BBs back in the box. Because there are a lot of voices, there are a lot of opinions in Lufkin, and that's not a bad thing. That means people care. And we got to bring it back from inside the loop to around the loop, north, south, east, west. Everyone has to be on board and bring it together. That's how you build a program and a community. I will say that, I know this may sound exaggerated. What I remember, so when I went to Oklahoma City and worked for Fox 25 as a sports anchor, sports reporter, I told myself I would never become a fan of a team I cover, even though I was truly part of it in Lufkin and kept it. I kept it objective, but those kids and everyone knows, man, I loved them. You know, I cared about them. But when the Thunder in year 3 made the playoffs, and I'd already had this affection, respected the game of Russell Westbrook, obviously KD, Harden, all them. But when they made the playoffs, that city turned up. I mean, banners, flags. It was like the only thing going on in this world. But people became passionate. I told a few people then, I said, you know what, you're not going to believe this. This reminds me in the month of April, the NBA playoffs, which is special. Reminded me of Lufkin, Texas on game days during football season and the playoffs. It did. And I know OKC was a city then of 500,000. It's probably about 600,000 now. A lot of parallels on how they support Lufkin football and the OKC Thunder, especially during the postseason.
It's just alike.
It is. The passion.
And like we talked about earlier, you know, what you just said covered everything we had, the conversation we had before we got on the camera. And it's basically, it meant something to Oklahoma City. You know, it was something they could brag about. Like, you know, just talking, who cares to travel to Oklahoma City? But if the Thunder's balling,
yeah,
we're going to Oklahoma. If we're going to watch ball, if I live in that North Dallas pocket or Dallas area, and the Mavs are trash, and OKC has Harden and Westbrook, you know, why not go watch that? You know, why not go be a part of that? You know, that's greatness, and that's exactly what Lufkin is right now. We have a chance to let the past be the past and be different. You know, go back to what Lufkin used to be. And my opinion is these kids and this coaching staff, they should have to earn the community's respect. The community should back them, you know, support them and make this transition easier on them. Because I promise you, Coach Absett is not coming here to hurt us or, you know, do us harm. He doesn't want to go away from the tradition of Lufkin. He doesn't want you to be like, you know, I'm the new guy. I don't care about these guys anymore. This is how we do things. It's not like that. His goal is, I promise you, I went in his office today, and I'm sitting there looking at the walls and all the legendary things Coach Quick and Coach Outlaw accomplished. And I think he said, you're looking around like you're in a museum. I'm like, it is a museum.
It is. Is that wall, that hallway, I know I'm going back in time, when you walked in that door, Coach Outlaw's office was to the left. Is that hallway still full of pictures of people who signed scholarships, played college ball.
So say you walk in from like the outdoor center.
Yeah.
There's an office to your left, and then if you walk straight past that office, you make another left. That takes you into like the locker room, the coach's office, and I think they call it the Wall of Fame, the Hall of Fame wall, or whatever. All that's still there, and I hope those kids take time to look at that wall and see who's up there, because like I think people get a misunderstanding of like. The new age kids get a misunderstanding of like who really played at Lufkin. Like you had guys, Jamarcus McFarland,
great guy, unbelievable,
5-star goes to Oklahoma. And you look at Oklahoma football now. Oklahoma football is not much to brag about,
right?
And I'm pretty happy about that. But there was a time if you were a defensive lineman, stud linebacker, and a running back. You wanted to go to Oklahoma. And it's like Adrian Peterson. Like, people, a lot of people don't want to talk about that, but Peterson would have been a Longhorn. If there was one guy in the way of him becoming a Longhorn, you know who that was.
Cedric Benson.
Exactly. And rest in peace to him. He was a GOAT, but AP had talent where he couldn't – I'm not going to say he couldn't go sit on the bench behind him, but what he did at Oklahoma was – it's unheard of. It's one of those things that a lot of guys don't get to accomplish.
They judge him too much on not winning a national championship. That whole deal was weird. But I was there covering OU right after him. And then, of course, when Jamarcus was there, that was fun. I'll tell you what was a lot of fun for me. And this is when I was married at the time, and I'll tell you when life started to make sense. I started, obviously I'm a faith-based guy, but then I started believing, your life starts to align and make sense. It was at the age of 34. When I left Lufkin, I think that was Dez's last year. He signs with Oklahoma State, and then I get the job in Oklahoma City in December of 2006. I started in January. Dez shows up, and Dez, he's a happy-go-lucky, high-energy, good people. And I remember, I just started thinking things are aligning. It's like the Lufkin connection, East Texas was there in OKC. Dez, we had some good moments. It made it fun. There were some other East Texas Titans. In fact, Coach Outlaw was up at Stillwater for a coach's clinic. He calls or texts me, and I called him, and I didn't get to see him that day because OSU didn't allow media into that piece. But it was interesting. And then there was somebody else from Lufkin that I thought played for Oklahoma, but you're right, man. Covering both OU and OSU, you saw some of the greats. But a lot of East Texas ties to both.
Yeah, and what Dez accomplished was incredible for the city of Lufkin. And
incredible.
You got to find a way to honor that guy. He deserves it. He had a phenomenal NFL career, and we need guys like him.
Passion.
We don't need you to move here. Like, we understand the Dallas city life is where you want to be, but like, we need you here, support Lufkin once a year, representing. It's basically like the city of Lufkin. We owe him a day.
I'll tell you what. I tell you from afar. I'm just calling it like I see it. Dez does a great job on his social media, his brand. He's proud of where he's from.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jermichael Finley does a great job with that. Javorsky does a great job. Ralph Thomas, one of the absolute best of being proud of where he came from.
It is a GOAT.
That dude, that's one of the best athletes all around that I've ever seen.
He can run track. He can play
baseball. You know what's funny? I got a Ralph Thomas story. I don't know what year it was. I've always respected him because I don't think it's because people said he couldn't. I think he's going to prove himself right. He always is bet on himself. That guy not only played football in college, he pursued that baseball for as long as until he said in his head no. I think he walked on at OSU because baseball if these kids now, if Ralph was around now playing baseball, they have up to 34 scholarships. It was 11.7 for a long time. So antiquated, such BS. I'm at Oklahoma City University covering a conference tournament. And I didn't know Ralph. I'm trying to remember what school. Was it Lubbock Christian? He was on that team.
At Lubbock Christian?
I think. Well, he was playing somebody. I look over the dugout. It was hilarious. So he's playing NAIA ball, I think. I may have my story twisted, but it was something like that. But he and I have never lost touch. And what he's doing now, he is one of the most highly respected coaches in the Texas High School Coaches Association. Good people, good family. Man, he's got his hands full in that household. He's in a good way.
Now, I think it was somebody just said it was D2.
D2. Okay.
But like you said, what Ralph has did is great, and go to Yates and turn that program around and, get them to the playoffs and get those kids that experience. And, that guy has a story to tell. There's a lot of things he did from the kindness of his heart for that program. And,
unreal.
I'm sure one day he'll share those stories, but going to a program like that and winning is not heard of. No. And to do it in your 30s, young coach, first head coaching job, that's big.
Yates, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you go back and look at Yates's history, we're talking about Jack Yates, right? Where he was. When I was growing up, they were up there with Odessa Permian they were tough now. Inner city Houston, just rolling. They had some of the best talents. And if you go, that's what I think of when I think of Jack C. Yates. And when they were 3A, I couldn't believe it in modern day. I couldn't believe this because they were a high-powered 5A when 5A was it. And if you do some historical research on Yates, before UIL, they were a, Prairie View League, Prairie View Interscholastic League, PVIL, like Lufkin Dunbar. They were a power then. And that's where their roots are from. And I've always respected it. I think they had a running back named Gerard Douglas, I think. He played for Baylor. But they've had a lot of guys that are D1 talents. And that's another thing. No one believes me when I say this. Every signing day, when there was one signing day, Lufkin, it would take over an hour to get it done because there were at least 12 to 20 signees, and a good portion of them Division I.
Big time Division I.
Big time Division I, but the beauty of it, I never judge it that way. You get these many kids signed, obviously it's up to them to continue and find the structure and to stick with it. You get a scholarship from a program, that's part you, that's part your parents, that's part coaching to help you. But what I mean, parents to support them. Hey, be better, do better, hold the standard. That's what I admired about Lufkin. Almost every year, I don't know of any other program that signed that many or had that many signed. And I've seen a lot of good programs like Lake Travis, Westlake. There's a lot of them. And for Lufkin every year, I was just blown away by how many.
I think that's what people forget, and that's like this upcoming season. I've heard a lot of people say, well, we graduated a lot of seniors. Well, one thing at Lufkin, we always reload.
Yep.
And that's something to be proud of as a community, a coaching staff, a school district. We have the athletes. And we were talking about this the other day. I think something that we lost is you have a lot of kids at a young age in the early 2000s, no matter if they were first, baseball first, basketball first, those guys wanted to play on Friday nights. It didn't matter that, okay, I'm a real good baseball player I might get hurt in football season. I might not play baseball, but like those guys wanted to play football on Friday nights for the Lufkin Panthers. And that's one thing I like to brag about, like a lot of these smaller schools, like the Salinas, the Gunners, the Carthages, and all that. They somehow find a way to have kids still going and playing. You know, I'm a baseball first kid, but I'm going to go play linebacker. And I'm going to be pretty damn good at playing linebacker. And I'm going to play it with pride. I'm not going to worry about, baseball season. I'm going to focus on playing football because this means so much to me, my family, and my community. This is what I grew up wanting to be. And I'm sure you remember covering Lufkin back in the day when you had so many kids running out there on that little grass out there,
and they would,
football. It was like, you wanted to go to the games on Friday. You had no choice. Your parents wanted to be there. And you might have didn't watch all the game on that whole football game, but you heard it. And you were out there playing football yourself. And then, like, I remember, like, when the game was over, nothing I look forward more to was waiting for the game to be over, the field to clear, and to go out there and sling the rock around.
That's pride right there. That's part of your DNA from an early age. For me, it was going to Lufkin and have, just producing Friday Football Fever, or what was it? Friday Night Madness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the high school show we had that Brian and I produced. And when he went to San Antonio, I took over it. We took a lot of pride into that, and it was a lot of work, but it was the viewership of that told me all I needed, because I needed to put more into it, and because people were watching. It was a tradition. But you talked about people growing up, and it's part of their DNA to be a part of the LP tradition. I remember, your friend, he's a friend of mine, but Austin Brown, he embodied that. You had other guys. There's another lineman there's so many great linemen, but I remember doing a story on one in the playoffs, had a broken leg and sucked it up and played on it. I think it was Andy Massengale. I think that was his name. I think his family owns that meat packing company.
Yeah, out there on 69.
I think so. I will never forget that. I will never forget one linebacker who I loved, all of them. There was a Shepherd in 1999 who went to A&M. And then there was a guy, I think, in the state championship. I think he was a 2 or 3 year starter, a Tamian Skinner. Lord of mercy.
The name sounds real familiar.
A lot of deep. You talk about Texas being DBU. At that time, Lufkin was DB high. I mean, the DB talent was through the roof.
It was crazy.
And it's just, and then running backs, man. I mean, who was the running back? Was it Williams in 01?
That's a long time ago.
Because it was, oh my God, there was a rotation. And then the game that stands out to me, I don't know why. It may have been the state quarterfinal in 2002. Jaworski and against Longview, all that talent on the field at Rose.
Was it Malcolm Kelly out there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I've heard that story numerous of times.
There was a lot of trash talk through the media that week. And I think Outlaw had, said, no, don't say anything you trigger anybody. But man, it was a blast. And I look back, I know when I got back to Austin, it was like about 2019, I was ready to hang it up and to go into what I'm doing now. And it just hit me. I was like, what I did and what I was able to achieve and what I experienced in Lufkin, that will never happen again. I never experienced that anywhere else.
It's like being at a D1 program. And like you said, I covered it like a D1 program.
That's exactly what it was. And it will be again.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely coming back. And, we're already got the ball rolling. We're getting the sideliners back. And that's big.
I'm glad you brought it up. The sideliners. The work, that was a team. So here's think of it as an umbrella. the Lufkin Panther brand. Everything's a brand nowadays, but it is. The sideliners were an extension, like the pillar of it that held that up. They were, let's just put them as a primary foundation. Back in that day, you had dads, you had people like yourself who don't have kids in the program. You had dads of the football players. You had someone who just loves the program, or community leaders who are just wanting to be a part of it. The work they did and the money they raised relentlessly, it was phenomenal. I don't know what it's like right now. Coach Doggett. Man, I love seeing these names. That name, that takes me back to some good times. Without a doubt.
Those are some great times.
I just can't. That's another thing. I'm 50. I'll be 52 in July. During those years, I was in my 30s. Okay. Late 20s, 30s. It goes by fast, and you don't want, and I have no regrets, but here's my challenge to any young man who's in the football program, a young person who, or parents who have a young person debating whether or not to be a part of tackle football. You have the opportunity
nowadays.
Oh, you and anybody in the community, don't have regrets. If you want, this is the one rare place in the state of Texas, right behind Jalen, to be a part of something very, very special that's very unique. Jump on the train, because it'll fill up fast. But be that person that's going to lead the way and start bringing people with you. That's what Outlaw did. Come on, let's go. He somehow had that magic of bringing people in from the inner city, whatever part it was, and getting leaders to believe. That's what ABSEC's going to do, and we need some kids from all communities to be that leader, be that magnet, and jump on board that train. Because when it gets going in Lufkin, you can't stop it. You can't.
Like you said, though, you don't understand how easy this transition process has been for like me and guys like Matt and the rest of the guys that have stepped up to help. Like Coach ABSEC's been there hand in hand, and he told us today, y'all just let me know what y'all need me to do. And I don't know how to say it, without saying it. It's like this has been one of my main focuses the last few months, is getting this back going and like doing it the right way and making sure these kids and coaches and have what they need and have the resources they need to obtain what they need. And like we said in the meeting, like this isn't going to be an easy process. We're not just going to go out and ask guys for money. We don't want you just to give your money. We want to be able to hit the ground running with our legs and put on events and do things to earn the money. And it's like I have no dog in the fight. Only thing I have is Lufkin in this. That's the only reason I'm doing it. And that's what we're doing it for. We're doing it for the athletic programs. We want to make sure that Lufkin football has the same exposure they did in the early 2000s. We're trying to put together some great things on game day. Like we want the community to be involved, but it takes bodies to make that happen.
It does. Involvement. It is volunteer work. And I'll go back to sideliners where like Oscar Kennedy, man, he has been a lifelong friend. And in fact, I haven't spoken to him in a few years, but I need to do that. Even Ricky McNeil, Reggie's dad, was a part of it. And they were key figures to all that. And it takes everybody, man. Just be selfless. But here's one thing that so this is coming from my experiences, either from people asking me to help them with something or be a consultant type, give some constructive criticism. You guys have the opportunity now to create your own media. And you guys, and Lufkin does. There's no doubt. Their video production program is off the charts for a high school.
It's good.
Hey, they have an opportunity to build up hype, social media through the week. They have an opportunity to do a pregame show and a postgame show that, honestly, and I hate saying this because I was in the media for so long, and I still respect it. The local the media, and it's not because of anybody. That industry is dying. I mean, you see what KTRE is now. So Lufkin ISD has an opportunity, which they're already capitalizing on, to build up, because people watch social media more and YouTube like this. It's just a case in point, to build that up how they want.
If I'm driving and I'm not listening to music, I'm listening to a podcast. And, it's not, it's, you get it. And it's like, I'll hop in my truck every morning and I'm waiting for SEC Unfiltered to release their baseball show.
Right.
I want to hear what, because, there's a 9 to 10 chance I didn't watch every series, because, I watched the series I wanted to watch, but like, I want to hear about it. I want to know about it. I want, it's even college football season. Like, that's all that's really going on. That's important to me is ball, like college football is just so different. And it's one of those things that you have to like take for what it is, because you only get a few months of it.
Yep. It's over with before
it's over. And then you roll over to basketball. And like, I'm the kind of person, I really don't care about basketball when it's just a, preseason and, the conference and all that. I like it when it gets to the end, when it starts getting to this,
I think everyone's like that.
Who's going to make the tournament? Who's not going to make the tournament? All that stuff. And, without social media, I don't understand how people knew all this stuff back in the day.
Well, it started with the website, and I know it's still around, Lufkin Panther Sports, with the message board. There was some funny. I never got offended by it. I just, when it first started, first of all, they did a great job building that. I forgot who built that up. It had a message board before message boards really got going.
I can't think of the guy's name, but I
can't remember who did it, but that's what I'm talking about. Everybody stepped up and created something. There was a good host of people, collection of people who helped build that brand. But I got to share this one with you. I do remember this one. This is one of those, which is typical. It comes out of a small town. I can talk about it now. So when I was at KTRE, there was no secret. I used to take friends with me to those playoff trips or wherever to go cover Lufkin. I won't name their names, but I took 2 buddies of mine in the KTRE van and was very careful. And it was in Waco, and I can't remember who Lufkin beat that. No, it wasn't. I don't think it was South Lake. Lufkin beat somebody in Waco. Me and my 2 other buddies, we stop and I forgot where it was to eat. And there were a ton of Lufkin people before we drove back to Lufkin in the KTRE van to go get back. And I got to produce and cut something for Sunday. So those 2 guys ordered a beer. Like anybody should. You should. You got to hydrate. Yeah. I didn't, because I had to drive. And number 2, I was driving a company vehicle. Well, somebody put in Lufkin Panther Sports. We literally got pulled over. I can't remember. It was almost in East Texas. Pulled over because we were speeding. Oh, I had a headlight out on the KTRE van. And somebody on LufkinPanthersports.com said Shawn Clynch got pulled over for a DWI because they saw me drinking at this restaurant. Just automatically assumed that. But that's typical message board stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't bother me. I laughed. I even pointed it out. I said, Tina, look at this. I got accused of a DWI.
And, that's what the message board, like, people can say what they want to say about the message board. It's ruthless. People get to express their opinions behind a fake account, behind a fake name.
Right. It's always existed.
That's what makes sports fun.
It is. It's so much fun. And that didn't bother me at all because I knew it was false. It's just funny. It just proved to me.
It gave you something to laugh at. People are watching you.
Yeah, it's watching. But that's everybody. Everybody's watching everybody. Everybody's somebody in love. Everybody's life matters. Their life and what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's what people care about. Shawn, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the national championship in men's basketball?
Woo! You know what? I'm starting to lean toward Houston.
Nah.
They're the most athletic. They're the best conditioned team. I respect Kelvin Sampson's how he coaches.
He coaches hard.
Hard. And that's what I don't like, because in this modern era of being soft and full of excuses, Houston's not that.
No. I think Sampson said something after the game. It was like, I really love these kids. And the way I coach them is hard. It's ruthless. And I talk to them a certain way, but I get the most out of them. And at the end of the day, after times like this, when they won that game, they won last week, he was like, they know I love them.
I love that. You see, it's give and take. You push and pull.
Push and pull.
It's like a relationship. You got to have, with a lady friend or whoever the lady is in your life. It's like that with coach players. Push and pull and respect.
So what makes you think Cooper Flagg can't get it done?
I think he can get it done. I think this is the best Duke team, true team. I'm not saying the most talented, but best team Duke has had in a while. I mean, I think Cooper Flagg is a great talent. I just feel like they're going to slip up. I may be eating my words next Monday.
Well, that's like St. John's. Who would have thought that would have happened?
Oh, wow. They didn't play very disciplined. Oh, he didn't play his best player.
No.
At the end.
He didn't play him, and he's actually entered the transfer portal, and he's also going to enter the draft. And it's, that game right there is what sports is all about. You get two coaches that love the game more than anything, that are legends in the game, and that are stuck in their ways and going to be who they are. And somebody's got to win.
Yeah. In the end, it's always about winning. That's what gets lost, but wins come when you understand each other. High school, I learned more because in high school, I lost a lot. We were a perennial 3-7 team here in Austin. But I'm going to be honest with you, those losses helped me in life. Hey, man, you can throw anything at me. I know what losing feels like a lot. I don't like it. That's probably why I hate losing nowadays in ridiculous competitions. I don't like losing.
So looking at Auburn and Florida, Florida is going to kill you inside. They're big. They can they can do it. And then you get a team like Auburn. Auburn's what? Their average player's age is like 25. They're starting average like 25.
This portal era is amusing to me.
But it's part of it. Like the portal,
it is.
It's not going anywhere. And like I listened to the podcast of you and Matt Brown, and like Matt Brown was like y'all talked about, like he was at Vandy, and he goes to Florida State. You said he created the transfer portal, and like that makes a lot of sense.
I was halfway joking when I asked Coach Brown that, and because of he obviously has a good opinion and a take on all of it. He's all for it, but both NIL and the portal, although necessary, and it's not, both of them are not going anywhere. I do think, especially NIL, with the players coming up with the revenue sharing of the network money, I think you're going to see some boundaries on the NIL. It should exist. Players should be getting compensated for usage of their name, image, and likeness. They should all these years. But back to your point, Florida, it's amazing when you look at that, what they do. Because you could have them down by 10, and in a blink of an eye,
they're up.
They're getting this zone, and they start, all of a sudden they take a lead, and you're like, what the hell just happened to me? And then Auburn can bully you a little bit. I like Bruce Pearl, especially now only if he keeps his shirt on.
But back to what you said earlier. Now that you say all those things, I kind of lean towards your opinion of Houston winning it all. They're the most athletic. They're the most conditioned. And I like how Sampson lets those guys run the court.
Let them play.
He lets them play ball.
It's mind blowing to me watching them when they just lost to the senior Shed, who's from here, by the way, product of the ATX. Shed was amazing, and he's as a pro, he's becoming a factor on that level. You lose one of the best players to come out of that program, and you just make another Final Four run.
It's crazy.
And you talk about replenishing talent, and it's funny thing about Coach Sampson. So I arrived in Oklahoma City right after they let him go because of what he did would not be illegal right now. The texting, too many texts to recruits, which was harmless.
Yeah.
His son, Kellen, was on that team as a walk-on. So I got to cover him for 2 years. And then, ironically, Kellen's first job coaching, well, I think for Danny Casper at Stephen F. Austin. And he's on that staff at Houston now. And Kellen, just like his dad, high acumen, good coaching IQ, and he gets it. He knows how to talk and relate to them.
What do you think about Sean Miller to Texas?
I like him. Here's a stat for you. If you go back to the 70s when they hired the late Leon Black, you go Leon Black, Abe Lemons, who was a character, Bob Weltlick, Tom Penders, Rick Barnes, to Shaka. I'm missing somebody. All of them. And then Chris Beard, and of course what happened.
Yeah, Chris Beard.
They should have let the courts play out in that situation.
You lost a good one.
Man. It's a sensitive subject, and I get it. You just cannot be involved in something like that because the perception's not good. But
one thing about it, Ole Miss will take you no matter what.
And he turned down A&M.
Yeah, and they thought that when Buzz left and went to Maryland, they thought for sure that Chris Beard was headed to College Station. I was reading their message board on Twitter, and they were like, his mom he just put his mom in a care facility in the Woodlands. He wants to be close.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, do you think this guy did not? He put his mom in probably one of the nicest places she could go.
Oh, 100%.
He's in great hands. You think he's going to turn down all of this cash to come to College Station? And from what I hear, they hate the AD there right now.
Oh, Trev?
Yeah.
Trev Alberts.
They're not a fan of the AD. And it shows, you have a program like Texas A&M, and you go out and you hire Slosh, Jimbo, Buzz, and Billy Lucci. Yeah. 2021, Billy Lucci goes out there and he's like, now the championships start to roll. And you get the same A&M. And people are going to take shots and say what they want to say about this. I don't care. Going to college baseball, when you have the roster and lineup that Texas A&M has in the bullpen, pitching staff, everything,
yep,
you can't make excuses for your losses. You should be able to put those guys on the field, no matter the injuries. I know you lose Gerhovic. I know you lose the other guys. I get it. No matter the injuries, with your pitching staff, with the ERA they're averaging right now, they are putting you in every baseball game. Jace Lavalette, Kent, all those guys, they should be able to carry you by themselves.
100%. I will say they did make it to the championship series, and I know that was a gut punch to lose that way, and then lose your coach the next day after you get back to College Station to your arch rival. I get it. It's hard, but it's it's hard right now to understand what's going on with them right now, Texas A&M. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But to your part, that's a whole different subject. But to what you were saying, it's proof that money is not going to buy you a championship. I mean, they're throwing money all over at SMU. I mean, they're giving up money to be where they are. I don't think they collect any network revenue from the ACC for 7 years.
Yeah.
Just to be a part of it. But I will say SMU's got a program now, football. But to A&M, I don't know what it is. Part of it's bad luck. They've got some good coaches and good people. There's something wrong with the alignment. Something wrong. They're not far off as a program or a department. Something's off. I don't know what it is.
And I like how they laugh at Sark when he talks about culture so much.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I don't get it.
Culture's everything.
I don't get it. I won't tell you. Again, I won't say their names. There's some former A&M football players, a few of them, and then former baseball. They are an Aggie through and through, and they're very proud to be Aggies. That's one thing I'll give former students. But they get a little put out of getting on the return on investment, especially for football. But A&M's not that far off. I get it. You're tired of making mediocrity. And I don't know what the deal is over there. I mean, Buzz I think he did a good job. They're relevant every year.
You want me to tell you what it is?
What do you think?
It's the fan base.
Yes.
It's the fan base. They like one of my good friends, diehard Aggie, going into the season, 11-1. 11-1, 10-2. I'm like, it sounds good. You have everything there to make that happen, but it all has to click together.
Yeah, and it
has to all go perfect.
I mean, look at what Tom Herman. He brought in some good quality coaching, good quality players. But it just didn't all line up. Now, he wasn't a loser by any stretch of the imagination, losing program. It just didn't work. And there's a lot of other examples. I don't know why it is that way at A&M, but they're this close. I'm talking about all the programs. They're very close. I mean, they won national championships in other sports. I just don't know what it is with football. I'd love to find out.
And it's not just to be a soap opera about A&M. It's all in the SEC. You see it.
Oh, it's tough.
And what are you really putting your money into? Are you putting your money in to be average? Are you putting your money in to be relevant? Are you putting your money in to win a national championship? And I look at programs like Texas, Georgia, even Florida right now. Like, look at Florida football. You get DJ Lagway on campus.
Oof.
Your starting quarterback goes down, DJ steps up, and he had nothing but flashes. And he showed you, okay, we're going to keep Billy Napier. We're going to keep the recruits, that he's recruited, because he's did a good job of, getting guys there.
Yeah.
What does it take for us to make this all go right? We got to beat Georgia. We got to beat Texas. We got to beat Alabama. And I hate this for Alabama fans. I hate it. This last year was everything Alabama has never wanted to see.
No. And
it was kind of comical and funny watching Alabama not be good, but what is college football without Alabama being good? And I heard somebody say this. Shout out to Coach Mac, J Mac. He came on the podcast, and he was talking about high school football. And he goes, right. What is Texas high school football without Lufkin, Carter, Permian, all those schools? What is it? What does it matter? It's not the same anymore. You have the North Crowleys, the DeSotos, and all those schools now. And it relates to college football. When Florida's not good, Texas is not good, Alabama's not good, Oklahoma's not good, even Nebraska. Schools like that, the blue bloods, the true blue bloods in college football, when they're not good and excelling what they're supposed to be, who cares,
Yeah, you're talking about programs, even Nebraska, who have a lot of eyeballs that watch them.
And Nebraska might have one of the best fan bases in college football.
I do, and I'll tell you one that's underrated just from my experiences of going there. Iowa State, their fan base, phenomenal.
There's a guy in Lufkin that'll tell you the story, and I'm not going to say his name, but when we were kids, he'd always tell us, when Texas goes to Ames, Iowa on a Thursday night, anything can happen. No matter who's back, who's playing.
They got beat, I think, twice. It's crazy. So I've always said this: when Texas and Oklahoma are good, I don't know why. Maybe it's coincidence. The entire version of college football is great. Texas and Oklahoma. But now that was before realignment. And if you go back before that, Southwest Conference, when Texas was the SWC, Oklahoma was in the Big 8. But they did play each other because they're an rivalry game. But I don't know. This SEC deal, if you really think about SEC football this past year, I'm not going to say watered down. I think there were a lot of programs, they reached their cycle of rebuilding. Because a lot of people say Steve Sarkisian didn't develop Texas. They bought players to reach where they are. No, I honestly think he's got the right people who developed. I mean, they were 5-7 his first year. He's trying to find his players. I mean, and adjust to the philosophy and how he wants offense and defense, his program. And then they make the jump to 8-5, then the first playoff, and then this past year. I mean, they're this close to, but winning a championship is so hard. But what we're talking about, I don't know if Oklahoma recovers. I think they'll get back to 9 or 10 wins this year. The thing I keep
even when Venables calling the defense, even with Brett Venables calling the defense,
I think he's a stud at calling defense. There's just something there. I don't know what it is. I mean, I could eat my words on that too, but I think they go to 9 wins this year, which is good after what they experienced this past year. The thing that I keep hearing from my people up there, I'm not saying they're wrong, but I have a hard time understanding. They said, we're little old Oklahoma. We don't have a bunch of millionaires donating money to our NIL. And I keep thinking,
excuses.
I keep thinking OU has a recognizable top 10 brand in the country, which resonates. You have alumni across the country. You just got to find them who are going to donate. And I'm not talking a lump sum. Here's $1 million. Here's a couple million. They're there. It's just, there's no way even though it's UT's biggest rival, arguably with A&M, I just find it hard to believe. I just find it hard to understand or accept that OU would never be relevant again. There's no way that's true, right?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can say that's true due to the fact that there's still kids out there that want to go to Oklahoma.
Well,
and there's still so much talent in that Dallas pocket that will still go to Oklahoma. And Oklahoma kind of speaks for themselves like Texas does. And I like what I think it was Jonte Cook said when he went and visited Texas. He saw the trophies, he saw the championships, he saw all that. He went to A&M and took a visit, and none of that was there. And I still think there's a few guys out there that won't let money get in the way of making their decision where they play college football at, and they will go to a program that they know they'll develop in and have a chance to win a national championship. And that's like USC. I love USC out. USC not being a good football team hurts college football.
They're down.
They're down. And that's a school that I don't think will recover due to the fact that if I'm a kid from Texas and I don't have to go across, to California, I don't have to go to California to receive the under the table money the lifestyle in California. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure living in Southern California is amazing.
Oh, I mean,
But
yeah.
I can stay in Texas. I can stay in the South. I can be, anywhere from 5 to 10 hours away from home, or a 2-hour plane from home. Why would I go out there? You have to give me a real reason. And I like what USC has kind of did. They've recruited their backyard a lot harder. You start recruiting your homegrown talent, the Southern California kids, the kids from the Washington, Oregon area, that pocket, and that's another Oregon. I don't understand. I think Oregon is a phenomenal football program, but I don't get why I would want to go to Oregon. I don't get it. I don't get it. I know the NIL is great,
Right? Phil Knight, Nike.
Yeah,
I get it.
I don't get it. And it's like this year in college football. What did Ohio State do to Oregon? It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And,
I will say I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but I did say money can't win you championships, but I do think NIL has changed the game.
Yes.
And we're expanding the play. We have expanded the CFP. There will be another expansion. And if you look at those first round games, they're going to have to change the buys, who gets the buys, because given Boise State and I think Arizona State buys, that was ridiculous. You just give the top 4 in the CFP a buy. That's all. If that's what we're going to do that. But my point is, there is a difference, especially in those first round games, a distinct difference. And every year you really only have 4 teams who can legitimately win the national championship, maybe 5 because of NIL. And the portal allows you to reload quicker. But there are misses. It happens. But I forgot who was it, and it wasn't anybody I knew. He said it. I forgot who quoted this. It was from a smaller Power 5 program, I think. They said, I'm not building a program. No. This was a mid-major. This was the Coastal Carolina coach, I believe. He says, I'm not building a program anymore. I'm building a roster every offseason. Think about that.
It goes a long way.
I mean, that's wild to me. What if the UIL is challenged in court and loses to NIL? What happens to high school sports?
I don't know. That's something we got to think about.
Man, I don't know I don't know what that would look like, but it is.
It's scary. It's scary. And it's another thing that's very scary is it's kind of like, Quinn Ewers. You can't blame the kid for doing what he did.
No.
You can't blame him for going to Ohio State and get paid.
No, I just thought initially for Riley Dodge, I know you've had him on. I thought Quinn could have handled that a little better. The communicating his decision.
What do you mean by that?
From the outside looking in, it just seemed like, wow, you could have made that decision to go to Ohio State a lot quicker so your high school head coach can get a quarterback ready and have more time, than 1 month before the season. I don't know if they did it. Just from the outside, that's what it looked like. I may be so off base on that.
And that's the thing. You're going to see that a lot more.
I think so. Well, Jaden Blue,
yeah.
What's the name of the high school? The new Klein High School, Klein Kane,
yeah.
Or newer.
Yeah.
I think he left before his senior season.
Yeah. And a lot of guys are going to continue to do that.
It's a trend, man, and I think NIL in some shape or form will infiltrate high school sports in Texas.
Do you think the national championship is headed to Austin soon?
That's a great question. They're going to be in the mix. I just think it's so hard right now to win a national championship than it ever has been. Because what if you don't get a bye? What if it's 16? What are you going to do with a 16-team bracket where everyone plays the same amount of games?
I think a fresh Arizona State team showed Texas that this year.
They did. They did.
I think Texas was beat up.
Shoot, yeah, they were. I was at that Clemson game.
I was there too.
Were you really?
Yeah, me and David Griffin, one of the guys from Life for the Pines, we left. I think we left Lufkin around 6, 7 o'clock early in the morning. We shot down there, and this is a funny story I'll tell you real quick. We got an Airbnb last minute.
Yeah,
we had plans.
Where was it? Where was it?
Oh man, I can't remember where it was at, but dude, it was nothing what it looked like. We made a decision to get an Airbnb last night. We were going to stay with one of our friends' little brothers, and we decided we better get our own Airbnb because there's no telling how we're going to be after this game. And we show up to the Airbnb, and this is sober. You know, we just got there, and there's it's like Lego houses. It's like casitas just stacked up in the middle of this neighborhood, and we're like, what the hell is this? And we walk in, and it reminds you of a shotgun house. You literally open the door, and there's a couch, a little mini fridge, a little recorder player, TV, and then there's a ladder right here. And this ladder leads you up to this mini loft with a bed. And when I tell you it's not like a staircase, I'm talking like a fire station ladder, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So we go to the Texas game. We've been boozing. You know, Horns win. We're excited. We get back to the house. Tennessee and Ohio State are playing.
It was a great day.
It was a great day. And we're going to go to 6 for a little bit, you know, hang out for a little bit. We get to 6, and we're sitting there fighting for our lives. Like, we're starving. We're tired. It's just time to go relax. So we Uber back to the Airbnb, and I look up those stairs, and I tell David, I'm like, look, if I climb up those stairs, I'm not coming back down. That ladder, I'm not coming back down. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and Tennessee and Ohio State were still playing, and David's sitting down there eating Popeyes. He had ordered food, and it smelled so good, and I was so hungry, but that ladder kept me from going back and going down and eating. And the next morning, I woke up, and there's no bathroom upstairs. So I told myself, I said, if I go down, we're leaving. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. And I climbed down, and I wake him up, and I said, I'm taking a shower, and we're going to Lufkin. And he's like, I agree. And we left Austin before.
I'm going to help you out here. Next time y'all make a trip here, do not go to 6th Street. It is. That thing needs to, I mean, people do whatever. I'll show you guys where to go. It is. It's just legendary in name. Oh my God. I'll show you some better places and some good places to go eat too.
Well, next time we're in town, Clynch, we will for sure be getting in
100% we will. Keep y'all off 6th. West 6th is even better. East side now. That's where it's at.
Before we let you go, I know we've been on here for over an hour. We got to talk college baseball.
Let's do it. I love it.
We got to talk about Slosh to Texas and all the good things he's brought to Texas baseball. Texas baseball is rolling. No matter what happened last night, we're not going to talk about that.
That's 4 times in a row they lost to Texas State.
4 times in a row. I literally got in the shower, got out the shower, and I think we were going to the 8th. And I'm like, perfect. You know, we're about to, we're about to do this. And we get 2 outs, and for some reason we can't figure out how to get 1 out.
Baseball is cruel.
Do you think injuries are going to come back and haunt us?
Yeah, I don't know how you replace. I'm not saying their talent behind that the young talent's not good enough, but a multi-year player in Max Ballou, who's out for the year now, power hitter, I think is broken wrist.
Yeah, so he made that play, and he came down and he broke a bone. It's his thumb.
Yeah.
It's his thumb. He fractured something, but there's all these reports out there. He might be back before the Oklahoma series. He might be back before the postseason. He might not be back at all. and it's his junior year, so you hate to see the kid, get hurt.
Yeah, and he's defensively and his big bat are huge. I mean, it's equally as important. And then you got the other two who were injured. I mean, Galvan.
Rodriguez.
Those Sinton boys are legit.
So, if I lived in Sinton for like 11 months.
Did you? How long ago?
This was probably 4 to 5 years ago. And
oh my God.
Do you have some times in Sinton?
No, but I know where it is.
I didn't know anything about Sinton athletics. I didn't know they were good at baseball. I didn't know they were
good at everything.
So I'm sitting in this restaurant on their main drive, and it's called the Butter Churn.
Butter Churn. It's
everything you think it of. It's basically a 10-time better Golden Corral. The ladies in there, they're cooking everything from scratch. We ate there all the time. And I was going in there on a Friday night, and all these people were in there in maroon. And I'm like, because from the outside looking in, I don't think this is a football town. I don't think this is a baseball powerhouse. And sitting there talking, and I love high school football, so I'm like talking to this guy in line. He's like, "Dude, Sinton's playing tonight." And I was like, "Okay, Lufkin's playing tonight. I'm gonna go back and listen to Nasty." And he's like, we get to talking, and he's like, "Come to the game." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So I follow this random guy to the game, and he has a ticket for me and everything. I go in there and I watch the Sinton game. It's crazy how big sports are in Sinton.
The small town America, Adrian Alaniz, who was a great pitcher at Texas for the Longhorns. He's from Sinton, and he's the head coach now.
Yeah, he's the head coach at Sinton.
Has been. And
then we have what's his name, Jaquez Stewart, DH for Texas. There's a catcher at LSU that's from Sinton.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable. The amount of talent that comes out of there. And that's over there basically north of, I think, Corpus Christi.
Yeah, it's so you come through Refugio, and it's a straight shot to Sinton, and then you have I can't think of the name of the town. I live there. Oh man, what's the name of the town? It runs you straight to Corpus.
Rockport.
Odom.
Oh, Odom, the Odom Owls.
You go Odom, Callan, and then Corpus. It all runs up on 37 right there. You hit 69 east to 37. And it takes you right to Corpus. I spent a lot of time in Corpus. One of my best friends, college roommate Max McCarty, was living in Corpus at the time. So that drive was nothing but easy for me to make to go see them guys. And, Corpus Christi for another town, like baseball powerhouse. Courtney Hawkins.
It's insane. It's South Texas has great, amazing especially high school baseball. And then, they have one of the better ballparks in minor leagues, and that's the Whataburger Field for the Double A franchise there.
What's it called? The Corpus Christi Rays? No, that's the high school.
Hooks.
The Hooks. Yeah. So back to college baseball. Can Texas get it done?
I think right now, as we all know, baseball is a game. It's a long season. You're going to have your ebbs and flows. You're going to have, and it's a game of streaks. I think Texas right now is experiencing what I think many should expect when you have injuries like that. Now, I know to a lot of people, baseball game's a slow-moving sport. How can you not adjust to other players? Well, it's chemistry. And I've said they've got to get their bullpen together. They have good arms. They have good stuff. I think they've got all three of the starters. Ruger kid, unbelievable.
And I like how they kind of rotate him that Sunday start position now.
Yeah.
And he's did nothing but dominate in that position.
I think they've got enough. I think right now they're an Omaha team. Man, I just question it right now without those.
This weekend will tell us a lot. Will tell us a lot. You gonna go to any of the games?
I think I'm going to the game 3 against Georgia. No, Georgia's unreal.
Yes, they can swing it.
They've lost only 2 games.
They can swing it.
But they play in a small park at home?
I believe so. And another thing I was reading today on Twitter is, if you look at the competition they faced, they haven't really faced anybody. There goes your boy Bogey Brown.
Oh man, he's a fun American, Austin. Huh?
My brother maybe, but they haven't really faced a team like Texas. And I'm not taking away from Kentucky and all the other teams they played, but you come to the 40, and LSU got it. I don't know what's up with Friday night. Like, I don't know what's going on. It's really not been there. I think the command is there. He's putting the ball over the plate, and I just think I don't know what it is. And I like I like getting into the Saturday, Sunday games because I feel a lot more confident with our pitching staff. And our bats are not a question. Will Gasparino, one of the best hitters in college baseball.
Oh my goodness, I love watching him. That dude strokes it.
He's hot, dude. He's hot, and that's one thing we can do is hit the ball. Man,
we are dropping innuendos indirectly left and right. I think if they can get Galvan back, I know we're not going to see Ballou. You get Galvan and A-Rod back. I think Texas is a Omaha team, but will they win it all? I don't think they win it all right now. Let's check back at the beginning of May.
Well, yeah, we'll be back and talk about it, but it's still good to see Texas baseball back and what Slosh did with the program. And I don't know what's going on in College Station in the baseball world.
They got to snap out of that. I think when you follow a guy, was it Early, his Slosh's former assistant, who he brought to Texas. He was here for a day and a half, and then A&M hires him as the head coach to succeed Slosh.
Was that more just retaining the lineup?
I think keep stability in the program. I don't think Early's a bad coach. I think A&M had to do that in some form or fashion. I believe they had to.
They had no choice.
Here's the thing and it took me about a couple of weeks to realize this. I get it. A&M was pissed. Their fans losing the national championship. They had a great year. Slosh had built A&M into what it should be and can be, and they've won before. The reason why that all went down the way it did is because the portal opened shortly thereafter. They got it. Texas had to get somebody if they're going to make a change. Pierce, I don't think he knew about it until Chris Steele kind of had a conversation. And congrats to David Pierce. He goes to Texas State.
Pierce, head coach at Rice now.
Yeah,
Has Rice been winning some baseball games now?
They've won a couple. I don't know what the deal is over there. It's hard to watch because they got a nice ballpark right in the middle of Houston. I think they got to get their NIL figured out. Period.
They're 7-23 currently.
They've won more with him.
Since he's been there, they lost East. They East Carolina swept them. But what do you expect? But they were all three. The last game and the first game were close games. No, they were all close games. I'm sorry. 4-2, 5-3, 8-5. They beat Sam Houston, but Sam Houston's not a good ball team right now.
Yeah, I don't. They're always good, but
I don't know what it is, but they have kind of fell off, and that's like normally when Texas plays Sam Houston, it's like one of those games like when Texas State's coming, or you want to talk about it, we could say it also.
Hey,
UTSA.
They're freaking what he's done with that program. Hey, I'll tell you, a mid-major. I know you're going to laugh at me. In potentially 3 to 5 years, Stephen F. Austin's going to finally have a program. I'm talking about where they compete where they win
They
more
gotta
than
get a
they lose.
ballpark first.
That's going to happen. It's happening.
So, what's your take on Cardenas?
Like him. He's a great baseball mind. He's good. But he was head coach of a program which truly didn't have the support that it deserves and needs to win. They didn't invest in that. You're in the middle of a little league park, and it's a non-revenue sport. They just didn't have the whole time. Let me tell you what happened. I want to air out some stuff. So they ended baseball. They disbanded it because of Title IX, and they needed to add another women's program, that Stephen F. Austin athletics program. I think it was my freshman year at Stephen F. or sophomore year.
What year was that in?
94 or 95 was their last year of playing baseball. They added women's soccer, which that's great. And that soccer's been really good. Well, they decided to bring it back. This is my last 2 years at KTRE there in East Texas. They start this campaign, the cliche, if you build it, they will come. They have this, hey, Bo Pilgrim, a Pilgrim's Pride Chicken, donated, I think, $1.1 million to – we're going to bring back baseball at Stephen F. Austin. We're going to start at the Little League Park and build this on-campus facility at Star and University on the northeast corner, kind of by the forest. And then they put a big old sign that says, if you build it, they will come, something like Stephen F. Austin baseball. All Stephen F. Austin had to do, and I may be wrong on this because my brain just doesn't remember everything like it used to.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, was to match that donation. And I think it was a year and a half time. They didn't even come close. And they hired Donnie Watson, who was assistant at TCU at the time, to lead the program. Gardenius, a former Horned Frog, and I forgot who was the third member of the staff. So they're recruiting to play in this imaginary ballpark.
Yeah.
They had a few decent years. Decent, not postseason worthy. They did go to the conference tournament. They won some games one year, a lot. But then they're recruiting to that in the middle of that Little League Park off the loop in Nacogdoches. I mean, they did what they do have a nice field, I will say that. I think that's the problem with Gardenius. You don't have any support. So Gardenius is trying to do it all himself. I do think now you've got a new leadership, new a new AD and a new president, and you're part of the UT system at SFA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to know, I hadn't found the proof yet, but the UT system does. I think they're going to get their dollars in the marketing of it and the support that way. And you've got to revive people like me, alumni. All right, hey, let's get excited. Let's revive. Let's get on board. It's all about donations. What was that?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, swipe that damn card. Give me $500 a month.
Hey, you might as well. You think about all the other money you spend stuff on. Give it back.
But that's what I think. In 3 to 5 years, Stephen F. Austin will finally have a baseball program that will be competing for something. And on campus.
We're going to say you said it first on Live from the Pines. You came out and said it first.
Hey, and we got to get that basketball program back. And I think they hired a young assistant from Tech.
I think that's going to be good.
I do too. Stephen F. Tournament not good. They've got to get back to going to the NCAA tournament again.
I saw some crazy stat. And I don't know if it was it SFA basketball that didn't lose a. You know what I'm talking about? What was it?
They didn't lose a conference game for like 2 or 3 years.
That's crazy.
It's possible, man. And they built that. I'm going to tell you something. That practice facility they built to Johnson Coliseum, it's better than OU's. It's better than the Memphis Grizzlies. And there's one other one that I compared it to that I've been to. top notch, amazing. And the people who follow SFA baseball that are there in East Texas, dude, you guys are missing out on a program. I know that winning is everything. Not having that arena full or 2/3 full. I went last year or 2 years ago for New Mexico State. Couldn't even fill it up, and I never understood it. Why is that? Why do you think?
I will honestly say this: one of my good friends invited me to an SFA basketball game this past year, and I happily declined. And I hate to be like that, but like I didn't. Yeah.
I love your honesty. I wish don't hold back.
It's what we talk. We're talking ball. It's a podcast. Be honest.
Yeah,
don't hide it.
Absolutely.
Like he invited me, and it was like I think I had something better else to do. I think I was going to sit in a recliner and watch Texas play or something. But I don't like I would enjoy like with SFA being this close to go catch a midweek baseball game, midweek basketball game. I can't tell you the last time I've been to an SFA football game.
Well, not many people have been.
Yeah, like it's just like make it where people want to go.
Well, so that's a good point. So I've been gathering some talking points to provide information because I will say that marketing team at SFA Athletics now, they're really sharp. And so tell me, I've never been able to ask this. I've always said people in Lufkin, not everybody, and a lot of people in East Texas, they don't care about SFA for the most part. What is it? Why? What would change? What would change for you?
I don't think there's anything that would change it for me due to the fact that I don't care. I like to see local teams succeed and do good, and I would be all about SFA success, but it's just not something I care to be a part of.
I get it. That's fair.
And it's nothing against the university or the alumni of SFA. It's just you can ask the alumni. You can go ask half of Lufkin. You can go ask every teacher in Lufkin ISD. They probably went to SFA. And you can ask them how many times do they go back to SFA for a collegiate event?
Very few.
There's a lot of guys that live in Lufkin that have nothing else to do on a Saturday that all graduated from SFA. And you can ask them, when's the last time you've been to an SFA game? I don't know. Just think about all the guys that live in Lufkin. They all donated $150 a month. How much money that could revenue for the college?
So that's this new team marketing. They have a plan, and I mentioned it to a couple of people, but I don't know if it's been heard by the right people. There's about to be a momentum push, and then you got to raise more money. Period.
Got to. It's the same thing like Lufkin right now. I'll say it. I don't care. What you give me a reason in the last 10 years why you should care about Lufkin football?
I think pride. Those are outside of the people who have pride. I get it.
But a lot of people don't really care. You don't have people that just care. Like this is that important to me. I'm going to make time to support this. There's so many people that live in Lufkin that don't even follow Lufkin football. They played at Lufkin. They graduated from Lufkin. But why? What's your why?
So I'm going to say this, and maybe it's just me, and I'm just saying it because that's how I felt. So I went to the Lufkin-Nacogdoches State Legislative Days event that evening. So I was,
in Austin.
Yeah,
I was there.
Were you really?
Yes.
Were you at that event that evening?
Yes, I had a tie, a burnt orange tie with Longhorns all over it.
Oh my God, we were in the same room.
Yes.
Oh my God, with the view of the Capitol.
Yes, I was there.
I want to say something. I saw Joe Morales, and then my SFA people, but I kept looking around and I'm like, I know very few people. These people from Lufkin, I don't know who they are, and that was shocking to me.
Yeah,
That to your
didn't know
point,
you
it's
were there.
fair. Huh?
I didn't know you were there. That bothers me.
That bothers me too. How can I not? I didn't know you were there. That's funny.
Yeah, I was there. Somebody sent me a picture from the event because it was pretty funny. I had tied my tie wrong apparently, and I didn't recognize it. And
Oh, that's hilarious.
Will Alvis grabbed me. He's like, "Come here," and I was like, "Oh, what do I do now?" And he's like, "Follow me to the back." And my tie was like way too long, and I was like, "Oh hell, I didn't know." I don't even know how to. I barely know how to tie a tie. The only times I've had to tie when I've tied on FaceTime with him helping me. Oh man, I did not know you were there. I would have loved to see you there.
Man, I hate it we missed. That's funny to me.
Yeah, I was there this year and last year.
Yeah,
Man, I thought I had the picture somewhere. It's not that important. We'll find it.
I still love Morales' place over there off of South First.
I think that's the only place my boss will eat Mexican food at for lunch. I'm a Laudonica kid. I grew up going to Laudonica.
Oh, yeah, that's off of 69, right?
No, that's on Reggae. Right by
going north.
Yeah, kind of right by Morse Frank.
So what is Morris Frank used for now?
So they're doing the Lufkin Youth Baseball League. It looks good. I went by there and saw it a few times. It looks good. I hope it works out. I think you can host some really big tournaments there. It's got turf. Lufkin's in a great place. You split Dallas and Houston. We have the track. We don't have the just major attractions, but we have enough attractions here to make it want to be there.
I'll tell you what, back in my day when I was following it, Austin Brown was his group. You had the McDaniels, you had Robert Ray. God bless, man. And there's a whole list of people. Why am I drawing blanks? There was a kid from Marshall back then when they were in Lufkin's district. His name was Colt something. That kid threw over 100 miles an hour. The guns of the scouts I remember behind the.
Hey, man, you're watching. Who is that?
Colt Griffin.
All right.
Unreal. All those guns would go up. We're talking about over a dozen every pitch. Man.
That's crazy.
Man,
I hope it all works out there. It looks good. It should be an easy attraction to get people to want to be there. So
it should be. It's on the north side of town, and
we'll see. We get enough people in Lufkin involved, and supporting it. We're gonna get a new CTE building, a new stadium in the package with it. But those kids at Lufkin, they really need some, they need the opportunities that most other schools, provide. You got to have that ag born. You got to have all the extra stuff, but we need a stadium also. It all goes together,
It's put the BBs back in the box. Everybody come together. Don't worry about it. Just, is it really worth it just because you think differently? Is it really worth it? Just find common ground and do it for the kids and the program and the pride of the city.
I'll tell you one thing. One day, people are going to watch this podcast, Shawn, and they're like, those guys were not just full of shit. They actually had some good takes, and I think I think we touched on a lot of touchy subjects tonight that people don't want to talk
about. Hey, honesty is the only route to go.
And I think that, you get it. Everybody else that's not here around us get it. Lufkin athletics, Lufkin football for a whole is heading in the right direction. And I think we need to end it on that note right there, because that's what matters the most right now. We got a new coach, we got a new sheriff in town, we got a new image, and we're ready to hit the ground running, and we're ready for the season. You know who we start to open the season up with?
Who?
Take a guess.
South Lake Carroll.
I wish.
Longview?
Yes. At Longview.
Oh, wow. Why is Longview? Is that Lobo Field, Lobo Stadium?
Lobo Stadium, I believe.
Why is it always foggy?
Yeah, I don't know what they do when we come down there. I don't get it. I don't understand why it's.
Why don't they get a fan, a huge fan on all sides to blow that air out?
Like, why is Longview? Why do we have to work? Like, why do we have to worry about Longview?
Hey, Longview is amazing what they do with their. I mean, they have been so damn good for so long. And Coach King's still there, right?
Yes, yeah. And his son's at Georgia Tech. I thought for sure this guy would have said, you know what, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna go watch Haynes. No, he just wants to keep kicking ass. He lost to Southlake in the 4th round this year. He's still doing what he does. He's gonna run the ball. He's going to throw the ball to the tight end. He's going to have one receiver that you don't know where he came from, but he's committed to LSU or Alabama or Ohio State, and he's going to do his thing. He's going to have a sub-average quarterback that can just get the job done, and he's going to make you pay every time you line up on the ball. He's going to run the ball, and he's going to make you be physical. And we lost to him this year, 7-3 in the rain.
That's a great game. What are you talking about?
Great game. But, Shawn, I thank you for coming on the show tonight. Man, that was amazing. We thank you for supporting Lufkin still. That means a lot.
Always.
All the guys I talked to in the last few days. It's like everybody I talked to. That JT gave me a ride this morning to go get my truck. I had the Bronco for Lions Club today, and I was like, hey,
right.
Clynch go on the podcast. He's like, Clynch? I was like, yeah. He's like, how does everybody know this guy? And he's like, dude, me and Clynch go way back. And then me and Matt, I talked to Matt, and he was like, Clynch? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, my God, because he's the one, he was like texting. He was telling me, he's like, you need to talk to this guy. Tell you he knows ball, yada, yada, yada.
Man, I love Matt and his dad, man. They were good people.
That's crazy. And then I tell Absec, I'm like, yeah, I got a big – they were talking about my past show. They were like, the past show, we've heard a lot of great stuff about. I'm like, yeah, I got an even bigger one tonight. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to tell them this guy's name. They're not going to know who the hell he is. I'm like, yeah, I got Shawn Clynch going. Absec's like Shawn Clynch? I was like, yeah. And I was like, how the heck do you know this guy? And he's like, dude, me and Shawn go way back. And
my God.
And Matt and him are talking, and they're like, you know Shawn? I know Shawn.
That's I'm trying to throw something at this. Hold on, man. I got this. Oh my God. I'm trying to get this animal's attention. It's a 15-year-old cat.
Is that the one? Yeah, that cat of yours.
I'm not trying to throw it at her. Don't get twisted. I'm trying to get her.
Trying to get her attention.
Didn't want her falling off the ledge over here.
Yeah, you didn't want her to hurt herself.
Yeah.
But Shawn, we got to definitely do this again, man. This
100%. I'm all down, and I appreciate the invite. It's always good to communicate and talk about Lufkin, East Texas. Will forever be a significant part of my life and a place, man. It is salt of the earth people who I appreciate each and every one of y'all who stay in touch with me on Facebook, social media. And Jalen, you're building a great thing right here.
Man, I appreciate it. It means a lot coming from a legend like you in the
legend. Wow.
A legend like you in the media world. It means a lot coming from you.
No, this is good, man. You keep building it.
We're going to keep trying. Before we go, I want to give a big shout out to our guys at Zilker Belts. Use discount codes PINES936 for all online orders. Shout out to our guy Austin Brown for supporting Live for the Pines.
AB.
And the rest of the guys at Zilker, we thank you guys for everything. If you're not rocking a Zilker belt, I don't know what to tell you. You need to go get you one. Discount code PINES936, man. Those things are cheap, actually, when you get that discount code in there.
Headquartered in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy, Clynch. He's a big ATX guy. Apparently, he's going to show me and David the right way around Austin next time. We look forward to that.
Me.
And, we just want to tell you thank you, man, and thank you for coming on Live for the Pines, taking the time out your day. If you are watching the show, if you're going to watch it in the future, got to throw this part in there. Go give the guys at Stories Inside the Mancave a follow, like, subscribe. Also, go give the guys at Live from the Pines. We look forward to bringing you more content. Thank you, Shawn. It's been great. Have a great night.
Hey, buddy. Much love, and keep up doing what you're doing, and much love to the city of Lufkin and all of East Texas. I'll see you guys soon.
I got to get my L in there? Yeah.
Look at my arthritic-looking hand.
Yeah. I'll holler at you, pods.
Hey, have a good one, brother.
Yes, sir.